everyone! I'm getting ready to do the Eat at Home challenge in November, so I thought I would put out this video on how I developed a healthy relationship with food. A little bit of backstory: I have always been obsessed with food. I just love eating. I had trouble controlling portion size. Even if I tried to eat the recommended amount, I would always go back for seconds, thirds, fourths. If you look at some of my old videos, you'll see that I was really bloated and inflamed, and it really showed in my face. I'm in a place today where I still love food, but I have a much healthier relationship with it, so I'm going to be talking about that today. This video doesn't focus on weight loss. There are a lot of videos out there that talk about that, but I think one of the side effects of some of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video will result in some weight loss if that is one of your goals. As with many things, it was a really long journey for me to go from being very food obsessed and very indulgent, overly indulgent, to a place where I am today where I still love food, but I practice a lot more moderation. I'm going to talk about my number one tip, which is probably the thing that I learned most recently, but knowing yourself, being honest with yourself and about your relationship with food is really key to having a healthy relationship with food. The reason I'm talking about this point first is because this video and all of the tips in it reflects my experience. What works for me may not work for you because you may not have the same types of triggers and the same type of relationship that I had with food before. Please watch this video and all of my videos and all of the videos out there with a grain of salt, and try to really take the points that may apply to your life, but don't take it as dogma. There's still so much for me to learn in terms of how my body reacts to food. I'm actually keeping a food journal right now, which has been very enlightening. The food journal has really focused on the more physical aspect of how I react to certain types of food, but I have a very good handle on how I react psychologically to food already. I'll weave in some of these details as I get into the other tips, but that is kind of the overarching theme of this video and a lot of my videos, is to really get a handle on what makes you tick, what makes you feel good, what doesn't make you feel good, etc., and being honest with yourself in that way. The remaining 4 tips are in roughly chronological order as I discovered the tips and integrated them into my routine. The second item that I wanted to talk about is weighing all of my snacks. Every time I have a indulgent snack now, like peanut M&Ms, you guys know I love those, or maybe some flavored popcorn like Chicago Mix or kettle corn, I will weigh out one serving, which is typically around 50 grams. I'll eat that one serving and I will be done with it. This brings me back to the first tip. There are certain snacks that I can have at home that I will have one portion of, but other snacks, for example, ketchup flavored chips, I love. That's a huge thing in Canada, so I know it's not a common flavor anywhere else in the world. Snacks like that where I know it's very difficult for me to stick to one serving, and even after one serving I don't feel great because chips tend to make my throat hurt. They tend to make me feel very oily. I try not to purchase anymore. Snacks that I do like that make me feel okay if I have one serving, for example the M&Ms, I will weigh out. I was watching one of my old vlogs a little while ago, I think it was during Vlogmas, and I was showing my snack. I was just sitting in front of my laptop and I showed, you know, I'm having a small bowl of peanut M&Ms, and the bowl was huge. There were so many M&Ms in there. There were at least 3 or 4 servings. So I don't do that anymore. I stick to the one serving, and I find that does very well to give me that little treat that I want, but also not overindulge and then feel really full and kind of gross after. The third item that I implemented was to eat with no distractions. I no longer eat in front of the TV, in front of my laptop. I don't look at my phone, and I don't listen to any podcasts or any audiobooks. I literally have 0 distractions. Usually I don't have music on when I'm eating by myself, but sometimes if I'm really stuck in my head, I will put on a little bit of music while I eat. But typically I just sit in my little corner and I enjoy my food with no distractions. This strategy really works for me because, going back to tip number 1, knowing myself, I know that if I sit in front of the TV and I eat very mindlessly. I could probably eat an entire package of Oreos just sitting in front of of the TV. I've also realized that I like to see my food and look at my food when I eat, but when I'm distracted by a YouTube video or a TV show, then I fall into the trap of eating mindlessly and I consume way more junk than I should. I do make exceptions every now and then. For example, if we're watching the Super Bowl, I might eat in front of the TV, or if there's something else on that's kind of like a yearly event, my husband and I might watch that together while eating. So again, it's not being super strict and dogmatic, but 95 to 99% of the time, I am eating with zero distractions. Going back to point number one, the other thing I know about myself is I love to be doing something. I love to be doing something productive. There's always something on my mind that I want to be doing. Eating is its own activity now, and once it's done, I can move on with the rest of the stuff I want to do. Knowing myself in that way and starting to eat with no distractions was very, very helpful for me. The fourth item I'm going to talk about today is near and dear to my heart. This is the Eat at Home challenge. I first did this as a pattern interrupt in November 2016 because I felt like my husband and I were going out to eat way too much. We were also buying takeout and delivery a ton. I was eating way too much salt and grease. I felt bloated a lot of the time. We were spending a lot of money. I did a blog post recently on my monthly food expenditures. I'll link that down below and you can see the impact on my finances that the Eat at Home challenge had. I love that challenge so much that I did it twice in 2017, in March and in November, and I'm going to be doing it again this November. My friend was commenting the other day, "You cook at home pretty much all the time now. Do you really need to do the challenge?" And that definitely got me thinking, but it's not a need to do anymore. My finances are in check now. I'm very good at not spending money now. We don't go out to eat a whole lot anymore. In fact, in October, we decided not to do a fancy dinner because we're not really into it. Instead, we went for ramen one afternoon. We've also been picking up little things here and there to supplement our meals. We ended up buying the Singapore slaw from Kid Lee, and I integrated it as part of our dinner. So that was a component of our dinner, but I cooked everything else. I've been liking buying little things here and there to supplement our meals, but we don't go out as much for these big fancy dinners that we used to do. Not saying we won't ever again, it's just not really on our radar right now. So the Eat at Home challenge had so many positive effects, and I really attribute a lot of my life changes to that challenge. So many things came out of that, including breaking the habit of being really indulgent with meals, cooking more and feeling fulfilled by cooking, saving so much money and cutting down our expenses so much that I was able to take this leap to quit my job. So many things stemmed from that challenge, and I definitely want to do it at least once every year. It's no longer a matter of I need to do this challenge because I have such bad habits. It's more so I love this challenge and I want to do it. This Eat at Home challenge is going to be a little bit different though, but I'll talk about that in a future video because I want to stay focused. The last thing I wanted to talk about today is intermittent fasting. I started doing a form of intermittent fasting around 1.5 years ago when I got Invisalign. And the reason I started eating in this way was because I didn't want the hassle of having to floss, brush my teeth, clean my aligners, etc. when I was at work. Now that I'm no longer working and now that I no longer have to wear Invisalign for 22 hours a day, I have kept up with the intermittent fasting. I'm not super strict on it. I don't really believe in being dogmatic about stuff and super strict and being very hard on yourself. I used to be that way. I was really strict about rules. I was very hard on myself when I broke certain rules, but now I'm easier on myself. I roughly do intermittent fasting, but I really don't track the times, etc. Going back to knowing myself, I don't do well with grazing all day, doing like 6 small meals a day. That's never been a strategy that I could stick to because I like to eat until I feel full. And then I'm very good at delaying gratification and not eating again until I'm hungry. In that way, intermittent fasting really aligned well with the way my body works and the way I like to eat. I'm still sticking to the 2 meals a day. I'll eat a meal when I feel hungry in the morning. Typically that's around 10 or 11 o'clock. And then I'll eat again at dinner time when my husband comes home. His schedule varies a bit, so it could be anywhere between 5 and 8 p.m. But I'm really not snacking in between, and I'm really not feeling all that hungry in between. So my body has really adapted to it and it really works well for me. Those are basically the strategies that I use to develop a healthy relationship with food. Please let me know down below if you think any of these will work for you. Also, let me know if you're interested in partaking in that Eat at Home challenge. If you need any more convincing, I will leave that blog post down below on the impact on my finances. I'm hoping to be doing a lot of food videos during the challenge as well as some vlogging. If you have any requests for food type videos, please leave them down below because food is going to be on my mind quite a bit as I experiment with new recipes and cook a lot of different things. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a delicious November. I will see you very soon in another video. Until then, please take care and bye for now.